6. Man Toga, SRS runway, auto thrust is blue. 80 knots, thrust set. 5500. 31. Rotate.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Nothing like a little early morning stream here from North Texas. Hope you guys are ready to endure some frame drop and some BSS sounds, because I've been jumping through hoops to get this stream going this morning, and we're having a bunch of issues. But you know what? I'm at the point now where I'm going to say the show must go on. And we're just going to get this airplane flying, because we have some beautiful sounds that even throughout frame drop issue streams, the sounds still typically come through pretty much uninterrupted. So if you do see some choppiness, I apologize, and the show must go on. We got diehard fans here at the channel. I'm a diehard fan of you guys, so we're going to get this thing going. What is up, Dougal McTavish? Good to see you here. Pause up. Good to see you. Anthony Anderson, Robert S., James Baugh, Brian Harris, Sam, what is going on? You're going to be with me today in the CJ4 mod. That's awesome, man. Christian, what is going on? Good to see you. Chuck Blake, John Howe, Aaron Hastings, James Monks, Andy H1302, and Swarm. A couple other green members there in chat. Good to see everybody as well. Guys, today is a very exciting day because we finally have the BSS Neo sound pack. You guys know that I have been dying for a BSS pack for the 321 aircraft. It finally is available on his store, and it's all, I believe it's going to be available on the org store in a couple of days, like on the 3rd or something like this. So We are going to totally load up this airplane with mods. We have the A321 Neo, which is the full payware expansion, and then we have Carda's realistic engine mod, which, I mean, guys, check out this Neo motor right here. I know it's not in 1080p, and I know it's frame drops everywhere, but I mean, these Neo motors are absolutely amazing. They're totally free. He's got both Pratt & Whitney's and CFM variants as well, but let me just go ahead and get you to an outside view here. So we're going to load it up, and we got the sound pack, of course, so let's go. We are going to take off out of John Wayne. I have a full tutorial if you want to know how to do the full maximum performance takeoff out of John Wayne. I have a video on my channel if you want to do it by the book. I don't have any of my charts with me right now. We're just going to kind of do it from memory and from how I know it's supposed to be done, but if you actually want to see the procedures and why it's done this way, check out the video on my channel. It'll explain it all in detail. So let's get going here, guys. We're totally cold and dark. I've been a little bit behind this morning, a little bit behind. So we're going to go ahead and get our batteries online here. I'm going to make sure the airplane volume is turned all the way up, because even if I am coming through choppy, we're going to still have the sounds come through nice and juicy. So let me bump up my X-Plane audio. Make sure that is up there as well. And that should be good. So let's go ahead and do our first power up. Hear the aircraft come to life. I like that. We're going to go through our flows here. We're going to go up the left-hand side. We'll go ahead and get the ADIRs into a line. I'm not going to talk too much here as the fans power up, just so you guys can listen. You hear those fans, they kind of kick on and then they go real low and then they come back. So what's happening is they go through a self-test mode there. So that's kind of what you hear, and that's actually realistic to the aircraft. I'll go ahead and get my screens on. I do like to have all this done before I start the stream, but man, I got in late last night, guys. I got in around 1:30 in the morning. I have a red-eye flight tonight. I haven't done a red-eye in a long time, so I got to do a red-eye tonight. So I wanted to sleep in, and then it's just been crazy, man. We haven't had water for 2 days at the house. It's we're hanging in, but we're hanging in there though. We're gonna get this stream going, frame drops and all. I don't care if YouTube yells at me. All right, here we go. 2986. That's pretty good there. You can hear the cargo doors opening up. I want to go ahead and make sure that we're gonna do this and we're gonna do this. Let's go to our doors here real quick. I want to just keep these open because I don't want to accidentally close anything and then have it trigger as sounds out of order. So, all right, we got those. Everything else is in auto. That works. Let's go into our flight plan here. We'll go ahead and pop out this. We'll put this into plan mode. Put our constraints on. We've got a new air rack in there. You know what? I feel like we should plan this from the wing view here, just so we can look at Carda's engines. How about that? Let's mix it up a little bit here. Look at that engine. We're going to load up the box from the passenger seat here. We're going to be operating today's flight from... Oh, no, I just closed it. Are you serious? Way to go. Rookie move there. There we go. We're going to be operating from KSNA to KSLC, and if the frame drops continue, we may have to divert somewhere. We're going to be operating Bourbon 357, cost index of 99, cruise flight level. Pull up our chart here. Which one are we? This one here. Go to our flight plan. What's a red-eye flight? A red-eye is when you operate in the wee hours of the morning. Basically, it'll depend on what company you work for, what time zone defines a red eye, but anytime we're flying between about 2 and 5 a.m., that's pretty much considered a red eye. Let's see, our cruise flight level up to Salt Lake City is going to be 330. That seems pretty low. All right, SNA departure. We're going to be going off of 20 right on the fins 3, and we're going to set this up a little bit different here in the perf page. Some of you guys probably already remember that. Fins 3, that takes us all the way out to Beale. Then we're going to pick up the airway from Beale. We're going to go over here, Airways, join Quebec 842, which is a Q route, which is an RNAV route, to Winen, W-I-N-E-N. I do like how I have, so one thing I've noticed right away is the McDo pop-out sounds are there. So normally when you use the pop-out function of the McDo, you didn't have sounds in previous BSS packs. I'm getting a click sound now with the pop-out, which is good. That is a plus. All right, what else do we have here? From Winen, we're going to go to McAllister. Is that MLF? I believe it is. No, that's MLC. MLF. Insert, and then we're going to join the Quinn 5. Not sure which runway we're going to be landing. Let's see it. They have us planned. They don't even give us a planned runway here. Let's plan. I don't even know. Jeez, let's look at the chart here real quick. Hello from Atlanta, Mr. Martin Torres. Welcome to the stream. Welcome. Ram Air 64, hello neighbor from south on I-45. What is going on, man? Good to see you here. South of I-45, huh? We're getting a lot of rain out here in Texas. All right, I'm going to plan. So we got 3 northbounds, and we're coming in on that arrival. This is what I don't like about SimBrief, unless I'm doing it wrong. I like them to give me a planned runway at least, so you have an idea. So it is a north flow arrival. So let's go ahead and plan for runway 34 right. Let's do that. 34 right via the Quinn 5. And we want to do an approach via Plague, and transition was MLF. Insert that. Boom, we're good to go. Close that up. That's in the box. Captain Ontario, what's going on? Welcome. 563 miles. We'll shorten that up here as we get out of here. Rad nav, nothing to hard tune. Let's go to our secondary real quick. We'll do a quick secondary. Here's the thing. We're going to do a takeoff alternate. We're going to go to LAX if we got to go back around. KSNA to KLAX is going to be our secondary. Normally, I always put us SNA to SNA or departure airport to departure airport. On an airport like this where we're going to be pretty heavy, we're going to probably be above max landing weight on the way back in here. And it's a short runway ops. I'm not even going to entertain the idea of coming back to this airport unless, of course, there was a, safety of flight issue, we're burning up, or if there is a very time critical emergency. Other than that, we're going to bust down to LAX here. So for this secondary, we're going to load in, we'll just throw in a basic runway here. What do we got? Let's land 24 right, I think, because we're north of LA. I think. I haven't slept in a month, and it's been rough. I think that'll be fine. 24 right. Hopefully we don't have to use this, but it is the Toliss. You guys know when I have emergencies, it does happen in the Toliss. But anyway, that'll be a good secondary. We won't even bother with the perf data right now. Nothing to put in the in the rad nav. We're not going to hard tune anything here. The perf page we are going to adjust. So this is where it's going to get a little bit different from our typical perf datas. Now I do have a whole video on this, but for this airport we have to adjust the thrust reduction and the acceleration altitude for takeoff. So thrust reduction is going to occur at 860 feet, and acceleration is going to occur at 3060. And that's just because field elevation is right about 60 feet there. So 860, 3060. We're going to do a flaps 3 no flex takeoff, and to make it even more fun, we're going to do a packs off takeoff. I don't know if it would call for it in this particular situation, but we're going to do it anyway. So let's go ahead and load up the airplane. Let's take, first off, what's our fuel load here? I believe I don't have the Neo fuel load in SimBrief yet, so this is a standard CEO required for gate fuel of 17.3. With a Neo, we're going to knock a couple thou off that. Let's do a 15.4. What's our min takeoff here? 16.8 min takeoff. I'm going to get an amendment for our fuel here. We're going to take 16,000 pounds. Actually, we can probably take less than that. Let's do that. 188 peeps. Don't need all that cargo back there. I don't think I can change. Let's change the distribution a little bit. 157. I think that looks good. Let's apply these, and let's put this into our knit B page here. Zero fuel weight of 157 even. And a zero fuel weight CG with our current load is 28.0. That looks pretty good. Block fuel on board this aircraft is 16,000 pounds. Let's see what that gives us here for fuel remaining. I'm south of LAX. Oh, okay, so we would probably have to go northbound. Yeah, John Wayne, that's right. For some reason, I'm thinking San Diego. SNA, SAN. Man, we sure, that was fun when we did that Alaska stream, and we ended up getting lost because it was CYTL and CYLT. We're flying around in circles. Oh my goodness. All right. So this was 16,000 in a Neo aircraft. That gives us an hour 16 extra. That's plenty of gas extra. Right now, 562 miles. I think that looks pretty good. All right, so let's go ahead. We're going to do a flaps 3 Toga thrust. And we have 129, 132, and 136 for our speeds. And this will be a static, packs off, full yoga takeoff. Doesn't get any more yoga than this. Our aircraft is fully loaded. Our speeds are in the box. Everything GPS is primary, perfect timing. Those beautiful engines. CardaJowol, he says, CardaJowol. I need more coffee, guys. CardaJowol, he says, hello, I'm a little late this early. This early streams while I'm still at work. Good looking engines there. Carda, shout out to you, man. Your engines are absolutely fantastic. I thought doing an early stream, the internet would behave. It just appears that the internet's not going to behave no matter what. I don't know what the deal is. We're going to have to just suffer through it until we get Starlink. Either way, it doesn't take away from how amazing Carda's engines look. They really do. Because I haven't flown with them in a while. I haven't actually been in a 321 Neo in a while. And then, so I get used to just kind of looking at other engines, and then when I put yours back on, or when I get back in the mod, it just blows my mind. Absolutely blows my mind. All right, everything looks good there. Let's go ahead and prime the APU. We're going to go ahead and do that. On auto, arm that. BSS cabin boarding sounds. All right, we're going to do that. Let's do a quick look at our fuel load here. Make sure it is indeed balanced, which it is. So with that, fuel pumps come on. And I believe he has fuel pumps modeled as well. Take a listen to that. You can kind of hear that whine there in the background, just ever so slightly. You hear those fuel pumps? I can hear them. Yeah, they look pretty good, or they sound pretty good. All right, we got fuel pumps on. APU is primed up. Let's do an APU start from outside. Not bad. Not bad on the APU sound. I've heard better, but not bad by any means. All right, we got APU spooling up here. Let's go back. Let's finish the rest of our flow here. We're going to come around the cockpit. What do we have for weather? I'm going to pull up to the most latest and greatest weather information here. Where are we at? Where the heck is, where are we at? Van Nuys.
Donation.
Rand Cool coming in with a $20 bomb. Rand, thank you so much for the $20 bomb. He says when you finish Red Eye and get home. Go buy yourself some JD Rye. It's really good. Thanks for all you do, my friend. Rant cool. Done deal. That's a done deal, my friend. I'm going to do that. I have a couple days off after this trip tonight, so I will definitely do that. And I appreciate it, Rand. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for your support here on the channel. 29908 is the current meter. So let's go ahead and throw that in there. 29908. 29908. And what's that? An HG 1015. 1015 is set. And let's go ahead and turn the bleed on. Disconnect from you. I like the sounds. I like the sounds. Let's go ahead and make sure everything is closed up here. Well, we're definitely not going to Chicago. So, this is going to be kind of a pet peeve critique here. And when I critique, I like to try to be constructive. I don't want to be insulting, because I do love BSS sounds. But when you pay for a sound pack, and this is a new, well, I'll let her finish her announcement. Won't talk over her. When you're paying for a full new pack, like this one is $20. I believe he said it was going to be $10 initially, but because of it's a full pack, it's now $20. I expect the default announcement sounds to at least be trimmed to where it's generic, right? You don't want to have a departure, destination, airline in your cabin announcements, right? Because we're obviously not JetBlue, and we're obviously not going to Chicago. So that's just a small pet peeve of mine. Little criticism there, but constructive. Maybe the default. I know you can adjust the announcements, but I think that one should be tweaked just a little bit here. All right, let's finish up the rest of our flow. Everything is good. We don't need that. Let's go ahead and turn off the ground services here. External power can come off. And we are pretty much just waiting for a pushback truck, so let's go ahead and call him.
Ground to cockpit. Please show me where you want to go.
Let's push us back on the line, like so. A beam gate number 2.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
All right, let me do a quick look at our departure here, and then we're going to do a brief. We're on the FINS 3 RNAV. We talked about the noise abatement. Our top altitude for the fins is 17,000, but we are going to go all the way up to 330, so let's go ahead and set that. 330 is set on the fins, departing off of 20 right, at or below 5,000. Right turn to fins, at or above 10, K-Hill, zoom. Nice RNAV departure, no crazy restrictions, nothing to worry about there. Ground speed, this is our climb gradients. We should be able to meet all of those. Flaps 3 Toga, we're going to leave the APU bleed on. And we're just awaiting our ground crew. So let's go here and look at the engine. Let's see. How do you get live weather in X-Plane? You just put live weather on.
Ready to connect.
Jeremy Harvey says, hey V1, the concert went well and you made it to the new album, so everyone who buys it will know about the channel. Jeremy, that is awesome, man. Congratulations. I'm glad your concert went well, dude. That's awesome. I played your song in the beginning of this stream. Everybody loves it. I love your music, man. I love your sounds. Shout out Jeremy Harvey. He does all the sounds, the alert sounds and music for this channel. So very, very talented human being. Thank you so much, man. I'm glad everything's good. He also says Zebo did a really nice job of making the announcements specific to airlines and still makes sense here in the sim. Right, so I've heard that too, where when you change liveries, it actually changes the announcements with it, which is pretty sweet. So that is the ideal situation.
Bypass and insert it. Release parking brake.
That is definitely the ideal situation, to be able to change liveries and have it change announcements. But at the very least, like I said, it should be generic, right?
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
All right, let's go ahead and go auto mode for you. Phantom didn't do his flow. Everything is good there. We're going to just go ahead and push back without starting the engines because I want to do a full, I want to have the brakes set. I don't want to have any interruptions when we start up. I want to have it just sound because I know you guys are seeing some chop, some frame drop. I apologize. I was starting to accept about that 15% frame drop threshold, but now that, as soon as I settled on that, now we're showing like 34% drop frames, but there's nothing I can do. I love you guys too much to have that hold me back from streaming, so we're going to keep streaming either way. Hopefully the audio still comes through. Wow, we just went through a fuel truck there. Keep it moving, keep it moving. How you doing? Nairo says, that's why I turn those off now. Never liked the idea of flying an A321 to Chicago from the Philippines. Yeah, Nairo, you're right, man.
Let's go over the safety features of this Airbus 321 aircraft. There are safety information cards in the seat backs in front of you that illustrate the safety equipment on this aircraft. You may use the card to follow along. Because there are regulations regarding compliance with this information, as also crew members' instructions, like the information signs and posted placards. Your seatbelt should be worn low and down.
Hotshot says, I don't know what he messed up on takeoff sounds, but it definitely sounds off, some chorusing or pitch clashing. So I've heard chorusing. Is that... I'm not quite sure what chorusing means. I think I know what it means. I'll have to take a listen. I haven't done an engine view takeoff yet with the BSS pack. I've put it on, made sure it worked, and I haven't done a flight with it yet. So you're gonna kind of experience it with me firsthand, my reaction firsthand as well. Max Rank, what's going on, man? He says, I just made it playing with P3D of V5. Boy, what a learning curve. Max Rank, what is up, man? Welcome to the stream. Welcome on board, my friend. Yeah, P3D is definitely a learning curve.
Complete. Set parking brake.
Welcome to the stream. Glad to have you here. I imagine you're in the FS Labs Airbus, my friend?
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
Brake set. Clear to disconnect. Show me the pin out front. We're going to go ahead and spool them up here. We are in a Neo. We're going to go dual cooling. So what we're going to do, ignition mode to ignition start. Dual cooling push button on. Confirm we have dual cooling available. And we're going to start engine 1, which is actually just going to motor. So you'll see here, it'll come up to about 10% or so, and we're actually going to motor both engines. I went in depth about dual cooling and what it actually does to the aircraft. Basically, when you think of Pratt & Whitney Neo motors, everything has to be done evenly. The cooling, the heating, everything has to be done evenly, so that's why when you start up, they want to cool the engines evenly.
Hose disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the right. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
Roger that. Thanks for the smooth push, man. We'll see you next time. So everything has to be done even because you have very tight tolerances on fan blades and shafts. You don't want that the shaft to sag. It's pretty incredible how tight the tolerances are on this airplane. So, all right, here we go. I'm gonna be quiet. You listen to this spool up.
Our estimated flight time this morning to Chicago here will be approximately 2 hours and 53 minutes. Thank you very much for your attention. It's time for you to relax and enjoy the rest of the flight.
Not bad, not bad. So one thing you got to keep in mind is these engines are extremely quiet. During startup from the cabin, they are quiet as well. Not terrible, not bad, not bad. Now, is it just me? Now, I can't even, it's been over a year, maybe more, maybe 2 years since I've sat as a passenger on an engine view. Is it just me, and I'm not trying to be mean here, but does this airplane sound just this high-pitched humming? Does it sound like an Airbus? That, to me, for some reason I'm thinking Boeing. I almost feel like this sounds more like a 737 with the fuel pump sitting on at the gate. But I don't know. I haven't been in an airplane. Like I said, it's probably been 2 years since I've actually sat at a wing view in an Airbus, let alone a Neo. I don't know. They sound good. The quality is good, but I don't know. We'll see. Let's go ahead and start up number 2. We'll go ahead and do a start number 2. We'll do it from the outside. That sounds pretty good. That's pretty good. I like that. Sounds like a bus. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I haven't sat on a wing view in a long time. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah, it sounds good. I like it. I like that. Those are pretty good. Those are pretty good. All right, we got 2 good starts here. We're going to go off. Let's do a flap extension to flap 3. Flap sounds are still mediocre. But I say mediocre compared to the FlyJ Sim 737 best flap sounds in any sim on any platform. But yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I like this cabin sound. I like how it changes pitch when I'm in front of the engine and I move to the back of the engine as well. So that does sound good. We got our flaps out. Let's go ahead. APU bleed off. Dual cooling off. Oh, we're gonna go ahead and leave APU bleed on for this takeoff because we're doing a packs off takeoff, but we're gonna do it with the APU on, not the packs off. So that is set. Flaps are set. And brakes released. Let's go ahead and taxi out here. Whoa. Maxim says flap sounds are spot on. The tone of the flaps are good, but how they stop intermittently, and that's really, I don't think, a fault of BSS, because I think every sim or almost every airplane in the sim does that except the FlyJ Sim 737.
Subscriber ahead. Look up.
All right, let's go ahead and continue our taxi out here. Let me listen to behind the. You know what it is, and I think it's just because I haven't been in the back of a 321 in a very long time. These 321 Neos are extremely quiet, so everything else will be more pronounced, right? Because you don't have the sound or the decibels of your IAE motors out there, that the other sounds are going to be a little bit more pronounced, such as the pumps and the hum. So I believe that. I'm good with that. I'm good with that. I'm liking it. I love his cockpit ambient sounds right now. I mean, just sitting in the cockpit and the fans and everything, I think that is some of the absolute best. All right, we're going to go ahead and cross 20 left, hold short of 20 right. Then we'll do all our checks here, and then we'll get out of here for a maximum yoga takeoff. Let's go with brake set, turn those off. Let's go through our flight control checks here. Full up, full down, neutral, full left, full right, neutral, rudder, not full left because of my settings, not full right because of my settings, and neutral. What was our trim for takeoff? I never did set that. I think it was, we did a flaps 3 Toga, down 0.1, so barely any. There we go, that works. All right, let's go ahead and go auto brakes max, takeoff config. We'll review our takeoff procedures here. It's going to go system 1, auto, TARA, flight attendants, please prepare for takeoff. Forward call on the flight attendants, and we are ready to go. All right, I'm going to sit back here. I do like that. The more I sit back here, the more I like it. Let me go to the front. Yeah. Yeah, I'm liking it. I'm liking the ambient sounds. Fosscraft just says, good morning, V1. You just overtook Blanco Lirio as my #1 aviation YouTuber. Well, Falsecraft, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. That's a lot, considering that our internet today, if you're a new viewer to the channel and you see the lagging and the drops, that's pretty standard for when the internet is not working very good. So to make up for that, guys, what we're going to do is we're going to divert. How about we divert to Las Vegas or something? We'll do an in-flight diversion. We'll shorten up the flight because no one wants to watch lag all the way to Salt Lake. But I'll do an in-flight diversion for you so you can see that happen live. But we're here for the sounds. Quick review on our takeoff, guys. So it is max performance takeoff. We're going to do a static thrust takeoff, 50%. 860 feet, we're going to reduce the thrust all the way back to thrust reduction altitude. We will not wait for a positive trend in airspeed. A lot of times, that's what I teach, is like before you do that thrust reduction, wait for the positive trend there. But on this airport in particular, if you wait for that positive trend, you're going to trip those noise abatement sensors off the departure end of runway 20 right. So as soon as it calls for acceleration 860, we're going to thrust it right back. We're going to let the airplane kind of coast all the way up to its acceleration altitude of 3060, which then the aircraft will then lower the nose, will begin to accelerate, retract the flaps on schedule, comply with the speeds on the altitude constriction or restriction. Once we reach, I don't know, at about 1,500 feet, I'm going to go ahead and turn the APU bleed off, which will activate the packs. We want to make sure that we don't do it too late because we want to have nice, well, actually, disregard. Doesn't matter when you turn it off because you have the packs running either way, so it doesn't really hurt your ears. If you were to do a pack off takeoff in the Airbus, which we are doing, there's two ways to do it: APU bleed on, or you can shut your APU off, or if it's deferred, you can just turn your packs off. When you turn your packs back on, you have to do it kind of in a systematic order within a certain time limit, because you don't want to have the cabin kind of blow out your eardrums of the outflow valve. So you would have to do one, and then you have to do the other one with a certain amount of seconds. But when you're doing an APU bleed in lieu of the packs off, much more comfortable for the passengers in the back, especially during summertime when it is very hot. So here we go, guys. Maximum Togas, Maximum Yogas in chat, breaks off. We're going to line it up. Oh, I love his spool up sounds. I'm loving it. Let's see if I can do a lineup here from this view. Oh. That was amazing as we went by the engine and the pitch changed. That was amazing. I kind of want to spool it up from right here. Here we go, spool them up 50%. There we go, max yogas, Toga thrust, here we go. Get back on center line. Oh, pitch trim, degree. Oh, I never set it in the menu. We're in a 321 Neo. Associated. Will not abort. V1. Rotate. Positive rate. Gear up. Flyby. $860. Thrust reduction, so now we're just cruising. We're back at thrust climb. We're in the clouds, but we're just thrust climb. We're holding V2, anywhere from V2 to V2 plus 10 via the SRS commands. Until 3060. Man, I wish we weren't in the clouds. It's actually really beautiful orbic scenery down there. And I I guess since we are in the clouds, we'll just go autopilot 1. AP bleed can come off. That can come off. So we're just climbing out V2, V2 plus 10. There's our thrust, there's our acceleration altitude, 3060. Aircraft is going to start lowering pitch. There comes our F speed. We'll go flaps 1. We'll go ahead and do that. Or I'm sorry, we'll go flaps 2. We'll do it from back here. Maxim says, do you have to set THS and perf in order to move? Yes, Maxim. So 321 Neo, that's what that was. So, of course, in real life, if I had an amber ECAM like that, we'd abort the takeoff. But that was just that's a new feature to the 321 Neo Toliss added. I think it's kind of dumb, personally, but I think it's there in the XLR and the 321 LR. Again, it'll probably depend on the software that you're running, but yeah, I can't get to it now. But the perf takeoff page where I never set the THS, that down point 1 or whatever, flaps 1. In the 321 Neo, yes, you do need to set that. So it would have been the proper format to avoid that would have been, what is it, DN.1 or 0.1, something like that, whatever it shows you in that perf. But that'll get rid of that ECAM warning for you guys. We'll go flap 0 after takeoff checklist. Massive stutters going on. I see that, guys. Is it normal for the speed vector to trend downwards like that on this climb? Andre, yes. The real airplane probably do a little bit better job of maintaining that SRS command V2 plus 10. We were pretty much stuck right there at V2 on our way out. The real Airbus, depending on your weight, of course, in the environmentals, would probably keep you in that V2 plus, I don't know, at least 10. I think on this takeoff, I'd have to rewatch it, but we were that SRS had us pretty much right at the V2 bug. So, might do a slightly better job of that. But as long as you're holding and you're not trending below that, you're going to be okay. Alright, let's go ahead. Everything else is off. I want to go ahead and turn down some of these other sounds here. I have a loud, was it wind noise? Yeah, that wind noise was a little loud there. Turn that down a little bit. And let's go ahead and let's clean up the line here. We're going to go direct to zoom, insert. And we're going to go open climb to 330. Thrust climb, open climb, 330. Let's do a flyby. Cutter says you should watch the video about the cockpit shadows. I applied it. Looks much better. Well, I will check it out, my friend. Thank you. I will say this. I do enjoy this sound pack over the default, for sure. So far, my overall opinion on this pack, just the default announcement shouldn't have a departure, arrival, destination in it. That's the only thing there. All the sounds at the gate were fantastic. Traditional BSS. I think everything sounded really good at the gate there. The switches, the cockpit fans doing the spool up, the PTU switch over. That was really nice. The external startup was really good. The internal startup was really good as well. I know it's probably not as pronounced maybe as some people would like, but that's kind of how these Neo motors are. They are very quiet. But what blew me away is when we lined up on that runway, oh my gosh, and that pitch change from when we were in front of the engine excuse me, in front of the engine, and then we turned and it just switched over. That was absolutely awesome. Takeoff, what'd you guys think of the takeoff yoga power? I mean, that was as much yoga as it can get. I think it was pretty good. I think it could, I don't know, I have to watch more videos. It's been so long since I've been on a wing view on a takeoff like that. Max Rank says externals are not great, could use a little bit more roar. Okay, let me do another flyby. Let's take a listen. A little bit more roar. Yeah, I agree with you, Max. I agree with you there. This is going to take forever to climb out at 99. We're at 10,000 feet. I'm going to do select speed here. We're going to do 310 knots on the climb out. And because my stream is stuttering like absolute craziness, guys, I do apologize. I've never seen it stutter this much. It's unbelievable. This is almost like our worst one we ever did. Let me clean up the airplane here. We're going to work on an in-flight diversion. How's that? That way we'll keep it shorter and you guys get to see some new stuff and you can keep learning here. We're going to continue climbing out, but we're going to work on an in-flight diversion. 320 knots. It is pretty loud in the airplane. Let's go behind the wing. There we go. See, I like this. See, that's what I really like about that. So in front, the sounds are totally different wherever you move throughout the cabin. So you're up in the front, you got different sounds. In the back, it's different. Behind the wing, you have different sounds. Max, what I didn't like about that flyby, and I've noticed this on a lot of X-plane airplanes, is as soon as you go to the flyby sound, you have a sound volume already set, and then the airplane just comes and goes. It doesn't fade in and fade out. The whole thing doesn't fade in, fade out. That's a small critique of mine as well on that flyby. It should, when I go at shift F2 or shift 2 to flyby, I shouldn't hear hardly anything, and then I should gradually hear the airplane come in and then hear it go away. And look, if I do another flyby, you see how I'm hearing the airplane right now? I shouldn't be hearing it that loud. It's not bad, but it's not the best. But I'm loving this sound right here. This climb out sound is pretty good. I love that your aircraft banner says 738. Oh my goodness. How about now? Thank you, Jeremy. Or was that Carda? Sam says, having to divert once in the sim, I can't wait to see how I should have done it to be correct. All right, we're going to work on a diversion scenario that I've actually had to do. I did one not too long ago, and it was kind of in the climb out. So I'm gonna do a diversion. Let's go through a real life scenario that's happened to me. We're going to work through it here. Because of the visuals are stuttering, I'm going to kind of walk you through a process of what would happen and all the little things we got to take into account. So in my scenario, let's go ahead and set standard. We're climbing out. Hold on, I got to turn down these wind sounds up here. I'm going to turn those wind sounds down. There we go. Wind sounds are down. All right, 18A climbing to 3-1. We're at 10,000. Airport's on. All right, so we're climbing out here, 19,000 feet. I think we were a little higher. I think we're about in the mid-20s. And we got a call up front, and it said, ding, 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 ding. You know that buzzer sound of when someone gives a dono, it's the same sound as that, courtesy of Jeremy Harvey. So every time I get a call from the flight attendant, I think I'm getting a donation because of the streams that I do. But that flight attendant buzzer called up, and when you get a flight attendant buzzer, 15 minutes after takeoff, it's always something, because that's not traditional that you get a call that early. So we got a call, medical situation, hey, we have a passenger. I'm not going to go into too much detail for, I guess, privacy reasons for I don't know if that person watches YouTube or not, but I'm sure there's been others like it. But they had a health issue. Basically, the person was ended up being unconscious. And what happens when you have a medical situation develop on an aircraft, a lot of different steps, a lot of different things have to start taking place and start to go into motion. So first thing that happens is we got to get the passenger's information, right? So at this point, if I'm flying the aircraft, I'm the captain, I'm going to transfer controls to the first officer, because it makes it easier for the captain in this situation to just deal with the medical situation instead of trying to work through the first officer, then him wanted, like, because he may not know, well, should I ask him if I should do this? It's just easier to do it if you're in the left seat. So at this point, I'll transfer controls to Phantom 320. You have the aircraft. I'm going to work on the medical situation. So I'll talk to flight attendants. Let's get this information on the passenger. He's this old. What's his name? Where is he sitting? Okay, blah, blah, blah. I got all his information. Now, next step is, do we have any medical personnel on board the aircraft? So the flight attendants will make and while I'm talking about this, we'll go ahead and enjoy some ortho scenery here. This is the absolute juice shot right here. Carda engine, Orbix HD. So, do we have any medical personnel on board? And the flight attendants will go through, see if we have any medical. No, we don't have anybody on board. At the same time they're doing that, I'm going to get on the phone, not really a phone, it is a phone patch for the ground line, but we're still using our radio, with a service called MedLink, and pretty much every airline uses it. And what it is you can call via your radio. You can call up a doctor on a ground station, depending wherever you are. They have different frequencies. You look it up in your charts and in your EFB, what frequency you need to use for where you are in that situation. So what happens is, I get that frequency, I make a call to MedLink. What MedLink is, it's an actual doctor. I mean, these are doctors on the ground that you see if you walk into a hospital, you're talking to the same person. So when you establish a connection with a MedLink personnel, they are pretty much the final say of what happens to you and as an aircraft, like where, if you divert or if you continue, or unfortunately, they also, well, not unfortunately, but situationally, they are ultimately responsible for the outcome of the sick passenger as well. So if they say, look, from what from the information you have given us, this is what we say for you to do, continue to your destination. If something bad happens to that passenger, the responsibility and the liability is now on MedLink. Now, if you are to take action and override MedLink, which you are not supposed to do, then it's going to be on you, and you're going to be, doing a carpet dance in front of management. So let's simulate. I've established communication with the MedLink hospital now, and they're talking to me, and I get the information. Flight attendant calls me back up, say, hey, all right, this is his name. It's John Doe. He's 34 years old. He's conscious now, but he's got a lot of cold sweats, and we think, he may be suffering from some type of breathing problem. That's literally what she told me. So I'm like, okay, so I'm passing all this information on to the MedLink officer via the radio. All the while, Phantom 320 is flying the aircraft. We're still continuing on course. We're complying with ATC. There's no reason to declare an emergency right now. Anytime you're working through a situation like this, you want to just have, you want to make sure everybody stays calm and you don't miss anything and make the situation worse, right? So he's doing everything airplane related. I'm doing everything MedLink related. So I give all the information out to MedLink, and they come back and say, okay, stand by. So we're sitting up here. At this point, now I got to start thinking, okay, in my mind, I'm thinking, well, if he's having breathing problems, cold sweats, he passed out, this guy have a heart attack, like what's going on? So now I'm going to send a message to dispatch. I'm going to go up here, McDo, and be like, look, free text, whatever, dispatch on the phone with MedLink. And what you can also do is you can patch MedLink, that MedLink call, through your dispatch company as well. So dispatch will actually get on the radio with you, so you don't have to message them. You actually have a live connection with your dispatcher and the hospital. So at this particular point, I'll send a message to dispatch if I wasn't with them on the phone saying, hey, this is what we're dealing with. I'm like, okay, we're listening, we're observing the call. 99% of the time, though, they're going to be on the call with you, so you don't even have to send a message to them. And in my case, in my most recent case, they were on the radio with me. So they're listening. And MedLink doctor comes back, and this is about it right here, about 28,000 feet when this happens. And he says, okay, we think the person that is on the aircraft, they might be suffering from a heart attack. We're going to need you to go ahead and divert to the next suitable field through your company procedures, blah, blah, blah. So now I'm just like, oh my gosh, really? Like, not like in a bad way, but it's just like, okay, this is going to be this is now turning into a much larger ordeal, because I will say that 75 to 80% of the MedLink situations that you get into, medical situations you get to on the airplane, they pretty much go on without a hitch. Someone, takes some too much Dramamine, or they're nervous flyers and they have a panic attack, and it typically is not that serious for the majority of situations, right? Everybody calms down, you just continue on, not a big deal. But there are those times where it is a serious situation and now we need to take action. So at about 28,000 feet, yeah, I think it would be best if you divert the airplane. Now dispatch is going to get involved. They're going to be like, okay, well, let's go ahead and look at your nearest suitable airports. And you don't just want to pick a random airport to divert to. And when you're working with an airline, they're going to pretty much tell you where to go. It's not going to be up to you unless you don't have communication with them, right? But they're going to say, okay, you want to try to find an online station. So basically an airport that serves your company. So here at Bourbon Air, we don't serve a lot of airports out here where we are. So we got to find ourselves a different airport. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and elect to, let's look at our weight. We're below max landing weight, 169.6. I'm thinking we return to, I'm thinking we take us to LA. What do you think? LA is only 70 miles behind us. It's a long runway. They got a lot of medical facilities there, and we don't have to go into John Wayne heavy. 321. What does dispatch think? Like, okay, yeah, let's go ahead and do let's do LA. So at that point, Phantom 320 is like, okay, you know, this is Bourbon 357. We're going to need to go ahead and come off course and get a diversion to LA start. Bourbon 357, would you like to declare an emergency? That's affirmative. Bourbon 357, we'd like to declare a medical emergency. We're going to return to Los Angeles. Bourbon 357, Roger, stop the climb. Maintain flight level 310, turn left heading 320. All right, 320 on the heading, 310 on the altitude. And now, this is where it gets really busy because you're still kind of finishing up with MedLink. You want to figure out the rest of the medical stuff. You know, can they use, we have medical kits on board. Can they use it? What can they use? What are the things they can do for the passenger? Is he stable? Is he not stable? Get that sorted out. So at this point, I would be doing all of that, and the first officer literally is doing everything airplane related still. So, okay. Now, to do a diversion here, some of the there's a couple ways you could set this up in the box, guys, but my personal way of doing this here, let me go for get the right fix there. So yellow, the white fix, not a from point, a 2 point here. Go ahead and go select your L1 key. There's a bunch of different ways you can do this, but in my opinion, this is the easiest way to do a diversion in the Airbus. From your lateral revision page, which remember, that's your left side, new destination. I'm gonna throw that in there. LAX, boom. Insert. From LAX, I'm probably getting something from ATC. They're probably also turning me around. About 240 now. Where you can expect the ILS 25 right, or let's see, 25 left will be LA, right? No star. And let's do, I don't want to do CVU. CVU transition, we'll do CVU. Insert. All right, Bourbon 357, when able, cleared, present position direct CVU for the ILS 25 left, LA. Oh, I wanted to turn right. Let's go ahead and manually turn that airplane around. All right, so we're gonna go present position direct to CVU. We're turning around, descend and maintain, flight level 240. Open descent, thrust idle, open descent. And we are starting to go back around here. Now I should be able to direct us to CVU. There we go, there's the left turn. All right, open descent nav. All right, now we got to get on and make a PA. Ladies and gentlemen from the flight deck, captain speaking. Unfortunately, we have a sick passenger on board this aircraft here. For the best possible outcome, we're going to go ahead and divert the aircraft to get them the medical attention that they need. There is no reason to be alarmed or be panicked. We are going to continue our flight into the Los Angeles area here. Once we get the passenger their needed medical attention, we should be back on our way to Salt Lake City. We do appreciate your patience this afternoon. Flight attendants, please prepare the cabin for arrival. Thank you. All right, so we've got the passengers notified, dispatch is notified. Now we got to start looking at aircraft stuff, right? Hang up the phone with MedLink, hang up the phone with dispatch. We're going to LA. Let's go ahead and start looking at airplane things here. All right. So, gross weight, that's my first thing I keep looking at here because last night, fun fact, hopefully we'll do another stream this week, maybe like 2 days from now or a day from now. I got a really interesting story. We landed a 320 pretty much at max weight with a 10-knot tailwind on a wet runway. It was interesting. So, checking my gross weight here. First thing, we're underweight. We got a long runway in LA. We have declared an emergency, so we are going to set the ATC already knows. Now, a lot of guys will ask, oops, let me go back here. Don't you set your transponder to emergency? This is something that, you probably should do, but when you're in an airliner, I haven't been, in the several emergencies that I've had, I've never actually squawked an emergency code. And I don't want to get too much into this for, I don't know, just safety issues, the safety of flight issues and national security and all that. But when you're at a 121 operator, they already have your squawk code, they have your information, you've declared an emergency, so they know your situation with your current squawk code. Now, of course, if you lose communications, that's different situation, definitely, where you're probably going to want to be squawking lost comms. But that's a good question for Phantom 320. I'd like to ask him, who is a real air traffic controller, because, going through flight training and all, you talk about all the, different squawk codes and situations that you would use them. In my personal experience, when in the handful of emergencies that I've had at an airline outfit, I'm trying to think now, I don't want to give you misinformation, but I don't think I've ever actually squawked the emergency squawk code. And it wasn't for lack of not knowing. I actually thought about it in my most recent emergency. A lot of you know I had a recent emergency not too long ago. I haven't really talked too much about it. But I chose not to do it because, the ATC already knows us. They know who we are. We've already told them that we have an emergency. They already know what's going on. So that's an interesting one that I would like to look further into and maybe discuss with Phantom 320. But anyway, I know I'm not paying too much attention to chat here because I'm trying to talk a lot about what's going on. It is very busy. You can imagine doing this in a real airplane. So other thing we have to check now is we got to get our charts going here. So, all right, so now you got to close all your charts. LAX, let's pull that up. What's the weather? Thank you so much, Scott T. He's got the current weather for us down there at LA. Current weather from my sim. Oh, wow. Mist, 6 miles mist, overcast 1,000 feet. Wait, great alternate. That's pretty much standard, too. They've probably, that would probably happen in real life. Oh, great. We got to do an ILS to minimums now. There we go. So at this point, I'm going to set up for a Cat 3 is what I'm going to do. So if I see that, I'm going to set up for a Cat 3. Approach, ILS 25 left, Cat 3. Because I have a sick passenger on board, my number one priority now is to get this person medical attention as fast as I can, right? That's all I'm concerned about. We're going to go ahead and get the airplane down. CVU is at almost 10,000, so we're going to go ahead and hustle down here. Let's set 2,000, open descent, spoid brakes out, and I'm going to go ahead, we're emergency aircraft, I'm going to increase the speed, 340 knots. Here we go, we're coming down. Just Angel says, imagine after all this, passenger says, I'm just messing with you. Yeah, that would not be good. Fubar says, that big situation from a couple of months ago, you're still going to talk about it in the member podcast? Fubar, yes. Yes, I am. And I will probably talk about it here very soon because, like I said, I wanted to wait for the dust to settle on that. Everything does seem to have settled down and everything is good, so I will be discussing that here for the members only podcast very, very, very soon. It does stutter, Seabrit. I'm very sorry. It's my internet today. That is why we're diverting, because I don't want to do a long flight and have you guys watch stutters the whole way there. My internet is being absolute trash today, so we're going to do a diversion so you can see a real diversion, a medical diversion on stream, as realistic as I can do as a single pilot here, where if we had two crew, it's very, very helpful in a multi-crew environment when you have some type of abnormal situation like this. But just check this out. So I'm going full spoid brakes, open descent, 340 knots. Because I saw the weather, this is actually really good training. Because I saw the weather is at basically Cat 1 minimums, I'm not even going to mess around. We're going to set up for a Cat 3 ILS 25 left into Los Angeles. Current meter is 2999. 2999 is set. 1, 2, and 3. We're going to go ahead and brief for the Cat 3. Constraint mode's back on. I have terrain on my side. He's got weather on his side. He's flying the aircraft. We're going to go auto brakes medium. Out of below 14 at 270 knots. So we're going to go ahead and set 12. We get to descend via. We're pretty much an ATC hands too. So ILS 25 left, Cat 2 and Cat 3. This is our chart that we do want. Confirm it is. All right, Cat 3 RVR 600 required. That's all we got. So let's go ahead and set up the box here. Destination data. Nothing to hard tune. KLAX. 25 left. This is probably the most I've talked a long time without interacting with you guys. I do apologize. But this is fun, right? This is something you don't see every day on stream. So speed brake's still out. I know. We'll go ahead and track you. All right, that is set.
Donation.
Who was that? Dougal McTavish. Coming in with a $20 bomb, says you'll surely need another bourbon after this. Dougal. Thank you so much, man, for your support. Awesome support here on the channel. I really appreciate that, man. Thank you so much for that, dude. I'm definitely going to need a bourbon after this. Unfortunately, I can't. I got a red eye tonight, man. There will be no drinking. There will be no drinking for me today. I got a red eye tonight. Long night ahead of me. All right, we're going to put no in the DH box, which would really be right there. This would say DH in the real airplane. All right, we're going to go ahead and descend now to... If we get a descend via the ILS 25 left into LA, the final approach fixed altitude is 1900. So we're going to set... It seems awfully low, but we'll set 1900. And we're going to go ahead and maintain 340 knots right now. We're going to go ahead and clear up the box. We're going to go direct to, we are emergency aircraft, direct to crane. Insert. We're in the turn. Let's go ahead and let's keep our speed up. You know what? I'm going to change that. Let's descend to 10,000 feet. Because realistically, ATC would be giving you vectors here, emergency aircraft inbound. Thrust idle, open descent, down to 10,000 feet, 340 knots. All right, let's brief the approach. This is one thing that we are not going to be messing around with here. We have a medical emergency inbound. We do not want to be messing around with go-arounds. We are at Cat 1 minimums for our ILS, so I'm going to take the most safe, the most successful, or let's see, the most likely approach to a successful landing, right? I'm going to take the lowest possible minimum, which is a Cat 3 auto land. I'm not even going to mess with Cat 1 nins. We're going to brief it as a Cat 3. So 109.9. That is auto-tuned. Final approach course will be 251 degrees. Gigi is 1900 over the glide slope. Cat 3, refer to minimums. We got no DH set. We are Cat 3. No MEL, CDLs affect the performance and operation of the aircraft. This approach will terminate in an auto land or a go-around. Touchdown zone is 104 feet. Highest sector altitude to the north, 7,700 feet. That's off the LAX VOR. Like I said, Gigi at 1900. We're looking for Pappies on the right-hand side. ALSIF 2 lighting. If we have to go mist, which we're not planning on to, but if we have to, it's straight out 2,000 on a heading at 251. Then we'll continue out and hold over Catley VOR inbound course 195. That's in the box, matches the plate. Let's go ahead and reduce speed to 250 knots. Spoid brakes out. I'm going to go ahead and set 1900 for Sivu. Bourbon 357. You're 2 miles from Crane. Cleared. ILS 25 left approach. Speed your discretion. Alright, speed our discretion. Cleared ILS 25 left approach. Bourbon 357. Alright, so thrust idle, a descent. I got 1900 set for Gigi, which is the final approach fixed altitude. 300 knots. I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit more lights out here. Help slow me down just a little bit. Plus, we're going through 10,000 feet. Notify the flight attendants. Ding, there's 10,000. We're speeding through 10 just a little bit here. Spoid brakes out. Here we go. This is Orbic's True Earth, man. Absolutely stunning. Aaron Hastings, yes, you could definitely do that. If you're an emergency aircraft, you could definitely do that. Sam says, so if you really need to get on the ground and weather is near at Cat 1, setting up for Cat 3 is best choice. Very helpful. Sam, absolutely, man. Because you got to think, you know, what if you're doing that Cat 1 and for some reason you can't get in, you got to go mist. And then that, 15 minutes that you go mist approach, that passenger unfortunately doesn't make it or something. Now it's on you, right? So you definitely want to make sure you don't do that. Perf, we're going to go ahead and activate and confirm the approach phase. I'm not seeing a glide slope yet, which is, I think we're still a little bit far out. That's all right. I'm going to slow back now, 210. Spoid brakes out. I know it's yelling at me. Heavy 321 coming in here. Our VLS is 218, 215, so we should be all right. We'll go ahead and get flaps 1 out. So another thing, when you're hurrying, not really hurrying, but when you're trying to do everything right the first time, you don't want to overlook a stable approach, because you start coming in fast, speed brakes, 300 knots below 10, whatever it may be, you could do everything right and then be unstable and have to go around anyway. So you got to control the controllables. You can control the aircraft. You can control being stable. So even if you're feeling pressured to get on the ground fast, remember, you still have to control the airplane, control the controllables, and then everything else is going to sort itself out for you. You got to do what you got to do. So I'm going to do 210 knots here. And I talk about 210 knots in a 321. It can be a little bit sketchy, but I've got the gear. I'm probably going to end up dropping the gear a little bit early so we can slow down on speed, but I don't want to come all the way back to 180 miles. We're still 28 miles from SMO VOR, which is up there by the field. So we don't want to be too slow, but yeah, we're 26 miles from the localizer. I don't want to be going 180 knots all the way in here. Everything else is done. Let's do a landing check, or let's do an approach checklist. Briefing complete. ECAM status is checked. Seatbelts on. Minimums. No DH is set. Auto brakes medium. Flaps full. 321 for tail strike avoidance. You got any questions? No questions. All right, here we go. We're caught up. Back to the chat. How you doing? Woo! Now we're back. Now it's just a normal landing. Thank you guys. All the subscribers, all the new subscribers, I've saw it coming in. And guys in chat, I apologize if I missed your comments, but I wanted to kind of work through that whole scenario so you could see it play out. But we're back at it here. Steve Van Spoid brakes with a little help of the ailerons. Ailerons. Airloins. Yeah, the stuttering is the reason for the divert, guys. I've seen a 737 go 50 knots or so in the taxiway with the medical emergency. Yeah, so a lot of talk. I'm surprised nobody asked me about the 737 that hit that light pole in DFW. No, it wasn't me. Obviously, I don't fly a 7.3. But very old, crusty captain once told me, he said, son, and this was years ago when I just got on the airlines, and he's like, son, if you're going to hit something, make sure you're on the yellow line when you hit it. And I'm pretty sure that 7.3 wasn't on the yellow line. And if he was on the wrong yellow line. So if you just, it's one of the best pieces of advice I've ever heard. It's like, if you're going to hit something, be on the yellow line when you hit it, because then it's probably not your fault, even if you're going a little bit too fast. So, well, unless of course you run into something when you weren't supposed to, or what. But if you're on the yellow line, you know, it's in your favor. If you're not on the yellow line, yeah. Hotshot says, I must go. I have classes to do. Good luck with the landing and have a good stream. Hotshot, thanks for stopping by, my friend. Hotshot, I look forward to getting into the fly-by-wire mod. I do. I'm going to do it, man. I'm going to do it. I just got to get... I'm waiting on that Starlink, man. But I will be in that fly-by-wire mod soon enough. Dougal says, so many new subs. Big welcome to the channel, guys. I do appreciate all the new subs, guys. And for all you guys subbing, I mean, that's... It really is awesome to see that kind of support, because I know I know what it takes to have a good clean stream, and I know I don't have that. Like, I don't want to hide that or pretend that I don't know that. I know guys want to see 1080p and a nice smooth stream. Unfortunately, I just don't have that ability right now. You know, technology wise, or hardware wise, I guess, Wi-Fi wise, and to still see the support come in, that means that you guys really do appreciate the content, and it really means a lot to me when I see you guys subbing. It really truly does, and I appreciate each and every single one of you. So hit the like button for yourself if you haven't already. All right, here we go. We're on the glide slope. Let's go ahead and activate. So AP1, AP2 inside of 15 miles there. Glide slope star, Alok capture, Cat 3 dual, no DH is set, autopilot 1+2, spoid brakes are out. I'm going to start configuring now. We're going to go all the way back to 180. There's VFE next, -10. We'll go flaps 2, drop it out onto the wing view here for flaps 2. Go ahead, keep dropping it back here. So now coming up on 10 miles, I am looking at really slowing down. We want to make sure it's a normal landing from this point, right? But this is a Cat 3. We're going to auto land the aircraft. 180 knots. We are activated and confirmed. Keep those spoid brakes out here. Get us back to 180 and stow them. I got to say, I do love his spoid brake sound from the cockpit. That wind buffering, pretty good on the wind buffering sound there. James Monk's no way.
2,500.
Chris Run says lots of us show up to hear more than see, so no worries about frame drops. Chris Run, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that kind words. Thank you, man. All right, here comes our 2,000 feet above. I'm gonna go ahead and start slowing. 2,000 feet above touchdown zone. I tell you every time, guys, 2,000 feet above the touchdown zone, manage speed, gear down. Let's start configuring the aircraft. Ooh, good gear sounds, BSS. Very good gear sounds.
2,000.
VFE next minus 10, flaps 3. Spoid brakes armed. What's our outside air temp? 17. No need for engine anti-ice. VFE next minus 10, flaps full. Landing checklist. Cabin crew advised, auto thrust. It's in speed mode. Brake medium, that's not a bug. That's supposed to be there for 321 Neos. And even the new 320 Neos. New 320 Neos, the new software will show you brake medium. That is a new thing coming out. I don't know if it's new coming out, but at least that I've seen. Brake medium is true to the real aircraft now. Brakes, let's see, auto brakes are medium. Gear down 3 green, and ECAM status, landing all green. Landing check is complete. We're clear to land, guys. We're on the auto land. We're going to monitor this now. So at this point, I will say, Phantom 320, I have control. I have control of the aircraft in a Cat 3 auto land. I'm going to be the one flying. He's going to be monitoring. So he did everything. He did all the work getting us to this point. 1,000 feet stable, clear to land. Bourbon 357. Would you like us to roll emergency vehicle trucks? Negative on the emergency vehicles. Just have them meet us at the gate, please. Roger that, Bourbon 357. We'll have them standing by. So no need for them to roll the trucks onto the runway because it's not an aircraft problem. It's a medical emergency. So as long as the emergency vehicles and the medical personnel are at the gate waiting for us, that's all I'm concerned about. All right, I can see the runway. But I'm not going to disengage it here. We're just going to let it do its thing here because I haven't done an auto land. Let's see if let's see the Toliss do an auto land. Make sure our wind limitations for our auto land are 285 at 5. We're looking good. I haven't done a 321 auto land, so let's see what it does here.
500.
We're looking for land green. Should pop up here. 350 feet.
400.
There it is. Land green.
300. 200. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10. Retard. 5.
Speed brakes. Or spoilers. Reverse screen. Decel. Manual brakes. Autopilot disconnecting. 70 knots. Bourbon 357. Keep it rolling. Right turn. Cleared across 25 right. Taxi to the gate. Emergency vehicles are standing by. Bourbon 357. Roger. Cleared across 25 right. Taxi to the gate. All right. So here we go. We're going to keep it rolling here. We're not going to change configuration until we cross the other runway. Now remember, even though it's an emergency situation, you don't want to make things worse by hitting something and just making everything worse. So even though you're expediting, let's still keep control. Make sure you're on the yellow line. We are not going to cross right here, so let's go ahead and clean up now since we're not crossing. Go ahead, stow those, clean that up. I'm going to leave my lights on because I'm going to cross. Turn the radar off. Phantom is doing his flow. At this point, I'm on the phone with Ops. Hey, Ops, Bourbon 357, we're on the ground. We're going to be headed into the gate here in just a minute. You got those emergency personnel standing by? Bourbon 357, roger that. They're awaiting your arrival. Gate and alley is open. Roger that, Bourbon 357. Go ahead and start the APU, Phantom, because I don't want to mess around waiting for ground power. Clear right, clear left, clear to cross.
Look up.
All right, we're clear of all runways. Lights are coming off. We're going to go one more alley over. These are the Bradley terminals here on the south side. Airplane is clean up after landing checklist complete. You still got your job to do, even if someone is back there, you know, even if they're dying, unfortunately. You still got to do your job right. You don't want to miss anything here, so you got to, speed will come, but you don't want to rush. You don't want to rush. All right, here we're going to take gate 42 Bravo. A321, safety area is clear. Let's go ahead and get their truck center there. A little hard on that tiller. APU is online. Brake set, engine 2, APU is up, seatbelts, engine 1. A little crooked there. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to LA. Is there a speed limit for a 90-degree turn on taxi? Not necessarily a speed limit, but there is a speed limit when you are above a certain gross weight in certain aircraft. So the 320 is most notable. 20 knots when you're above. I think it's 100. I should know that. It's a limitation. There's I think it's like 148,000 pounds or something like that. 20 knots, but you shouldn't be making 90-degree turns at 20 knots anyways. All right, we're here. Pop the door. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to LA for the diversion. Due to frame drop, emergency vehicles have met the aircraft. We're on the ground. Everything's been done safe. We did a nice auto land there. So, Miss Jungle says, what an exciting stream this has been. Fascinating to hear some inside info on how the airlines deal with medical emergencies. Yeah, so that's a little insight to what's going on. Hopefully the passenger, in my case, the most recent medical emergency that I did have, the passenger was fine. They did suffer a heart attack. If you could tell, they suffered a heart attack in flight. I was getting conflicting information from the flight attendants in my real life scenario. There was, first they said something and then they said something else. And then basically MedLink had told me, he's like, from the information that I've gathered, we assume it's been a heart attack. So we need to get you on the ground. And we had to get on the ground because I guess you would say all heart attacks probably are emergency diverts, but there's actually equipment on the aircraft that can help aid in a heart attack situation like that. We have medications, so you can stabilize the passenger. But our passenger was fine. They got off. Everything was okay. And, yeah, we ended up just taking off and went back to our destination. So everything worked out just fine for that passenger, and they did for ours here as well. So let's take a look at that landing. I know it's choppy as can be, but some of you may want to see what an auto land looks like. So let me put you guys in replay mode here. And we can listen to the BSS sounds here on replay. James Boss says, luckily I've never had a medical emergency that required a diversion. I know a few guys who have. Luckily they didn't have it over the open ocean. Yeah, over the Atlantic. I mean, if you guys are doing transcontinental or transatlantic, transatlantic flying, there's nowhere to land out there. Definitely is a little bit more of a hairy situation. But I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I'm going to take a listen to these sounds real quick here. Let's take a listen to the touchdown landing sounds here. God, Carda, those engines are amazing. Not bad, not bad. Ooh, I do like the spool down. That spool down is nice. I know it's probably pretty choppy for you guys, but let's listen to this, and then we'll get out of here. Love the livery, Jungles. Not bad for an auto land. 6 feet from center line. I think it was 55 feet. But it really centered up on touchdown. Not bad at all, Autoland Toliss. Oh, listen to those sounds. That's pretty cool. They got the reverse sounds from way out there. Alright, guys. Pause it here. I'm going to let you guys go, play a little sail. You could stay if you'd like. Clear Direct Fubar says, thanks for the stream. If you want to have a great day, thank you. I hope you have a good one as well. Jeremy Harvey, I wonder if an Autoland uses artificial intelligence and machine learning to make it smooth. I don't think it's quite that advanced yet, my friend, but I'm sure it will be. Rand, thank you for your support. Dougal, thank you for your support. Everybody who donated super chats, new members, new subscribers, thank you so much for your support here on the channel. Until next time, guys, I am V1. If you're in the U.S., I'll be flying above you tonight here about 2 o'clock in the morning, so look up for Bourbon Air flying. Until next time, guys, I'm V1. Stay safe, stay healthy. See ya!